going on, everybody? This is the weekly Q&A for April 23rd. Just wanted to answer some of your questions from this week and try to clarify some of your issues. So these charts I have listed are the first question that we had posted in the weekly questions, and it's a series of charts asking a question. So basically it looks like you're trying to figure out if a certain sequence is valid. And it looks like that this level is valid. It doesn't have to break a resistance in this area. Yes, in order for that to be a solid failure short, you would want to break resistance on the left. This looks like it is a micro tiny chart, and that's fine, but you also have to take that in mind, take that in consideration when you're looking at what actually broke support and how you want to focus on moves. When it's a daily chart, I'm fine looking at individual candles. When I'm scalping, I'm fine looking at individual candles, but I also know that my probability might go down a little bit. What makes this sort of okay in this example is you've got this support right here, and this is the last. You got a little support here, popped up to this little resistance, and then this broke this support here, and then ultimately you did break support down here that led to this new high. So yeah, you could say that this is valid. You broke support, you broke resistance, you broke support that broke resistance, so this could be a valid failure short. Broke resistance that broke support. Yeah, obviously these levels are not in the right area, but you do have the idea correct. Alright, so we broke this resistance. Yeah, so you broke support here. It could be this resistance, it could be this resistance. It's a high, made a new low, high, made a new low. I would actually say it's this one right here that contributed to breaking this support. So this resistance is valid. This resistance would be valid just because you broke the support that broke that resistance, and you broke this resistance to the high. So yes, it is valid. Question being, would this be a valid entry? Yeah, this is sloppy though. I would never take this trade. Not unless I was just not paying attention. It looks like it's been tested like 50 times, even though this gets into segmentation, and this is the actual move that broke this low, that broke this high. So you got above there, you came down and tested. Test, 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 test. Yes, this is valid, but probability's gone down because it's been tested so much. This would have been your last support gained. Pop right there. This is tested. So really, there's nothing you can do right here other than wait for another valid entry, and all of it's contained in here anyway because this didn't make a new low below here. So this is a leg up, and you have not extended and made a new set of legs down. You'd have to make a new low here or a new low there. So I'm not really sure what you're trying to get at here, but this is valid. I would not have taken this trade, just to simplify things. Alright, so for the setups, next question is for the setups, is it more probable if the qualifying levels be breached by a wick, or if the whole body closed above it or below it? Yeah, just move on from that. Don't worry about bodies and wicks. We look at price action, absolute highs, absolute lows. You could get into a little bit more nuance looking at collections of highs and closes together, kind of like on this chart. Like, this is a failure short. You could say that you have resistance right here because you have close, open, and you couldn't close above that level. But there's plenty of times where this tests and then it pops up here, hits the high, and then fails. So we just use the highs and the lows. So if it breaks a qualifying level with just a wick, it's fine. Don't worry about it being a body or closing above or below. Alright, so HRA123, could you kindly go through primary support and resistance levels again? Alright, I'm confused in time frames for finding these. Your time frames are going to be 100% dependent on what you want to do. Do you want to swing trade? Do you want to day trade? What? So, if you're looking at, I don't know, let's pull up a chart. So this is a daily chart. If I'm looking at a daily chart, say I'm coming in here, it's really big. Let me make that smaller for you guys. Alright, so we have a daily chart here. I'll zoom out just a little so we can see this. So on a daily chart, you've got resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, resistance there, anywhere where you're showing resistance. These are daily candles. So you have to think about that. You went up to this level, came down here, went up, came down to there, went up, came down here. Yeah, you get the picture. So let's clear all these lines off. On daily candles, you can just assume that highs of a daily candle that showed resistance is a good starting point. Then you want to look across and say, okay, this was resistance. Do we have support? Well, do we? We have resistance here, support here, support here. Tried to hold his support here and then failed. Resistance, support, resistance, up. R, S, R. And inverted, it would be S, R, S. That gives us a higher likelihood of things working out. In momentum trading, so we've got, just zoomed out there. So we went up here, came down here. These are daily levels. We'll just go from the daily. This will be the last support that we broke. So here's our leg 1. Here's our leg 2. And to make it a 3-leg, we'd have to get above here. So once we get above here, resistance on this side becomes a valid continuation long. We want it to be resistance that was support that acted as resistance again. That's our first key. So right here you've got resistance, support, 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 resistance. Come back, test it there. There you go. You'll also notice that we had another daily high right here. Resistance probably acted as support in there, but resistance, resistance, resistance has actually acted as resistance more often. So doesn't really matter. It's a swing trade. Here's your entry for continuation. Came up to here. This is your next level that you broke. Really, this was a 3-leg in itself. So your target would have been here. And then a failure that could have been there. So you really just have to practice this stuff over and over again to see support and resistance. I mean, I will harp on that till the day I die. You cannot do this without practicing. Like right here, we have, this is momentum, so there's your first bounce. This is your entire 3-leg structure, so this is the bottom of it. We want to see what's untested. So you have support, resistance. This should be support over here, because this is a failure short, or failure long, I mean. So far that's holding. You could zoom in and probably find other levels. It's all about the kind of granularity you want. If you want to be a swing trader, maybe look at a 30-minute chart, but really you can just do this on a daily. So if we come over here and look at this in a more broken down manner, you can see, so we know, first of all, the reason I'm looking at these lows right here, and I know they're valid, is because I know we broke support over here. We technically broke support all the way down here. But this was the daily level right in here. And like I said, if I zoomed in, this is major support. We broke it. So this is a leg 1 up, this is a leg 2 down. We extended it 3 legs. So continuation levels from leg 1, failure levels from leg 2. Your key components to pay attention to is your highest level that's untested, which would be your continuation for momentum, and your lowest level that's untested is where you should get a big reaction. So momentum trading, you're not looking for, a huge bounce, you're looking for a continuation of the move. So that's why we focus on these higher levels for continuation. Otherwise, once this is broken, we'll go to the lowest untested level, which in this case, there's a gap here. This was untested. This was untested. See how we have support, resistance, resistance, and it should be support again. Let's put a level there, see what's going on with that. Zoom out. Ta-da, 3157. Opened on this day, which was Wednesday, hit it, and bounced. And then the cycle starts all over again. Question being, did we break support over here? Yeah, we probably broke it right here. So if we broke support here, we'll edit properties, make this the level that is a qualifier, right? So we need to find the move that broke that. The move that broke this would be, so we broke it right here. This move is what went down and broke it. So we broke there, which tells me this is our qualifier to start in the opposite direction. We broke this level, which means now this can be a valid leg up, which means the failure is now valid. So you've got these failure levels, didn't quite test here, 3301 to 3310. Oh well, that's the problem with stocks sometimes, especially when they're not liquid. But you get the idea. It's the same thing on repeat over and over again. You're constantly looking for valid segments. So we know all this is a leg down. We've broken support here. We have all these moves that broke support to the left. Then we broke resistance that broke support. So this, we didn't break that. Broke that high. And then we made a new low. So this is a bigger 3-leg right here. Your key components of this would be for continuation short. What would be your failure long here that failed on new lows? Let's zoom in. We'll probably call it right here. Support, just barely missed it right there. Probably tested it later. Yep, pretty close right there. So let's get rid of some of these other lines. So once we break below this level, which would be extending the 3rd leg down, these would be continuation shorts for momentum. Broken here. Already kind of tested it from the bottom side there, so that never came back. So that would still probably be a valid target for this move. You also have to come in here and look and see if you created any other 3-leg structures that are untested. Just looking at a 15-minute chart, it doesn't look like it. And then your other trade point would be highest untested, which in this case looks like it's probably right here. Actually, probably right here. So this is the highest untested level of this move down. As long as this continues to gain support and hold what last gained, it should go here. 59s. Eventually. That's a big move now. So let's look at something smaller. So I posted a chart today before the open, and we will talk about that. So this morning we were down here. Let me zoom out just a little bit more. Okay. So this was a valid 3-leg right here. We gained support. 1, 2, 3, because of this high. That would be your last gained. So once we broke the low of this 3-leg, this becomes our, this was a failure short, so we broke support, tested it, made a new low. Once we break the low of this, this becomes activated as a failure short again. We broke the low right here. Let's go to the right, there's your failure short. We have another 3-leg structure right here. This was untested. That's your highest untested, really. It was there. You zoomed in, there was one right there too. Then you have the same thing as before, right here. 1, 2, 3 legs. Once we broke this level, it activated that. So we've got this level, this level, this level. That's the first thing I'm looking at in the morning. And then above would be, because all this is tested up here. Tested. So when we get there, we know this was tested already. We got here, we got a reaction there. If you zoom in, it went right to the level it was supposed to. Got a reaction there. This was not an easy trade. I did not take it. I did take this continuation long right here. Got up to 69, came back down. Another untested. This is still answering your question about what time frames do you use. Intraday, I mean, I want to look at everything. So let's zoom in here so you can see what's going on. So we hit that 13,833 half level right here. This is the immediate structure that we are retracing. 3 legs. You got immediately continuation. There's your bounce. Next level right here, resistance, support, support. And then this is your lowest untested level. This is where we ripped from. So my partners and I we covered somewhere in here and right here. Did not take that long. Then you have your continuation right here. That goes up again. Got up to your next level. I did not mark that correctly, but it hit it, came down. And this is what I mean by this level was kind of janky. Where was it? Right here. So you had a prior continuation right there. Technically you had a weird little untested level right there. We didn't take it. That's exactly where we bounced from. Anyway, the idea is support and resistance, and what time frame you want to use is totally up to you, as long as you're following the rules. Entry point and swing trades is your next question. We kind of went over that with EXPI. Your entry point in a swing trade, if you're trading all-time high stuff, is you want continuation levels. So right here we have our 3 legs on a daily, made a new low, made a new high, resistance. This is where you enter, 2148. Really, you could have entered here as well. Either way, the stop is down here. Then continued. Then you have another 3 leg because you broke support in this move up. So you've got 1, 2, 3. Continuation right there. Resistance, resistance. Part of the 3 leg, this is your continuation level. Hit right here, bounced again. This 3 leg we already went over. But at this point, it's no longer momentum. See here, you went up, came back and tested, made new highs. Now you went way up and extended before you ever came back to here. So this is going to give you a reaction, more than likely. That'll give you a bounce, but your lowest untested, as we surmised, is somewhere in this area. 3157, somewhere in there. And that's where you've gotten your bounce so far. But as you can see, nothing's really happened on the daily. So if you want to manage it more actively, you can zoom in, look at a 15-minute chart, a 5-minute chart, whatever suits your needs. Me personally, if I enter a daily trade, I try to manage it on the daily. Because there's plenty of times where a 15-minute chart will fake you out, and the daily will continue doing what it's doing the next day after you've been stopped out. Alright, so next question, and the final question for this week is, can we go over OCGN? So this has been a fun one for people. OCGN. If you'll notice, what happened today is we retraced this leg. Surprise! Made a new low. We made a new high. And we made a new low. So we have 3 legs. It looks like 1350 is anchored here. On this chart, it is. That is not the level you short. This is a high and a down leg. We don't short highs and down legs. That's just a qualifier level. So unfortunately for you, you're going to learn the hard way with Thinkorswim that sometimes you have to use on demand. Right now I'm going to go to on demand to show you what's going on from this day. And sometimes this is stuff you have to do on the fly if you're using Thinkorswim or have the ability to go back and look in time. We've done this on futures for years. We do this on stocks sometimes. So you go back to the day in question that you're actually retracing, which would have been this date. So here's where you broke 1350 and made that high that we're now retracing, the 1405 down, which is the peak of that 3-leg pattern we're covering. And wouldn't you know, you've got resistance, which was at 1350. So we know we broke 1350 to the left. That's what it's marked for. That's the anchor. That's our qualifier. So we broke 1350, so we know this is a leg in itself. Made new highs, came back down, tested 1350, made new highs. So this is a valid segment. Once we got below here, this failure short, which turned into a continuation long, has become a fresh failure short again. So from there, it just happens to be the same level as 1350. This would be the exact same trades I just showed you in NASDAQ futures, the same ones I've posted in the room today. We broke this continuation structure. The failure that became a continuation turns back into a failure. We broke here. We never tested 1350. I actually waited for it that day. It never hit. And that's why I tell you guys, don't delete levels that don't get tested. You get upset sometimes when levels don't get tested. That doesn't mean they're not going to. It just didn't happen that day. So I think 1366 was the high today. You can also look at it this way. You had your very own 3-leg on this side, which gives you validation. This was untested right here. So you've got this level untested, this level untested, and your high is 1405. So short 1350s, stop 1405s, it went to 1366. And let's turn on demand off. We know the same level as 1350. We'll look at today's action, see what happened. Bum, 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 1350, surprise, surprise, surprise. So we went 1365, tried to hold 1350, failed. So we had a little, I'm going to assume this is a structure, didn't quite test. But we broke support right here. So we've got valid structure there. That was tested. Nothing you can do about that. Broke down again. Tested. So this area is probably your lowest untested there. This was a 3-leg, so actually when you broke here, this becomes a valid short. So there's your short there. 13s, went to 1310s. More 3-legs. Let's see what's going on over here. That's tested. It's all really micro from the move up. Got a 3-leg right there. Failed to short. Didn't quite get there. Anyway, OCGN, the main move today was retesting the highest untested of this leg right here. And then it failed. Have fun trading garbage like this. I'm going to make a lot more money trading futures than I am this stuff. You got to borrow this. You got to sit there and wait on it. You need a scanner to find it. I know you guys love doing that stuff, but the older you get, the more you realize you can make more money somewhere else. You can save your time, save your patience. You can walk away, do something else if nothing's going on. Or, I mean, you tell me why you got into trading. Did you get into trading to sit at a computer all day, or did you get into trading to be free and have freedom? I got into trading to have freedom to do what I wanted. What I want is to make money, and I want to make it the easiest way possible. So, I choose to do things like trade crude oil. Super easy stuff going on today. So, this morning, believe me or not, bottom tick fill, 61.25. That went up, new highs, take profits into the new highs. Came back down, broke support here, broke support there, blah, blah, blah. Failure long. Another easy one. Failure short scalp. No, remove that. Got long here. The targets are here. This is untested. This is your highest untested. Took a short scalp there. Ended up making a new high. and then sold off. But you also had continuation scalp there. So I took 2 or 3 trades in CL today, took a bunch of little ones in NQ, the ones we already talked about. These are my main levels for today are on a different platform, so I haven't even checked to see if any of these are valid. Clearly some of them were, and these are old levels that I haven't touched, which is why I tell you don't delete when you find valid levels. Let's see. We're retracing 13,993. No, 13,974. That level. This level. Tested, tested, tested. 970. 69.5. That sucked. 63. 75 quarter. Yeah. Anyway. Learn how to do this. Makes it easy. Even if you wanted to sit here and scalp all day. I mean, 63. And then you made new lows below here. Take your profit on new lows for scalps. 63 to 41. Or, let's see. Yeah, 41. Is that 22 points? Right? So that's $440 on one contract. That cost you $500 in margin. So you made $440 on a $500 outlay of cash. You could do a random 5-point stop, because if you're wrong on NQ, you're wrong. So you're either going to be really precise or you're not. So when I'm scalping, I use like a 5-point stop, and I don't even worry about it. I don't worry about the technical stops, because I'm either right or I'm wrong right away. So here, 63, new low, there's $400 in your pocket. Whether or not you get filled here or not, here's your failure level. Got to there. So we'll say 69 to 50. There's another almost 20 points. There's another $400. 400, 800, one contract, $500 each time. Down here, you bought this, 13,850. Target was higher, so you hold on to this one, because we're always looking at the bigger picture. Basically, our entire idea for the day was that we needed to trade above 13,944. So if you get long down here, 13,851, you're looking at almost 100 points right there. So that's $2,000 on one contract, $500. I mean, you do the math. Would you rather trade small caps, or would you rather trade the actual QQQs, which, how much money do you have to put down for a QQQ? Just one. I mean, you got to put $339 down for one share. You're putting $500 down for one futures contract. You tell me which one's a better bang for your buck. Anyway, guys, it's late. It's almost 10:30 my time. So I'm going to hit the hay, let you guys comb through this video, see if you have any other questions. Just be sure to go back and read the old pinned messages. If I didn't pin them, if I pinned all of the messages, if I'm not the author of the pinned message, read the conversation. I encourage you to read the conversation around every pinned message, because I don't just pin one message and expect you to read it in a vacuum. Watch the old videos, read the old conversations, read the pinned messages, ask questions. That's the only way you're going to learn how to do this stuff. I'm half asleep and I can do half of this stuff. And that's because I've been doing it for a decade. Just this. I've been trading longer than that, but I've been doing just this for a very long time. So anyway, you guys enjoy your weekend, take a break, give your brain a rest, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks, guys.